On April 8, 2026, American and Iranian diplomats shook hands to finalize a historic ceasefire. The agreement was designed to halt a devastating regional war and stabilize global energy markets. But the exact moment the ink dried on that treaty, Israeli fighter jets crowded the skies over Beirut. The Israeli government explicitly excluded Lebanon from the global truce, initiating Operation Eternal Darkness. Over the next 10 minutes, the Israel Defense Forces dropped 160 precision munitions. They hit exactly 100 distinct Hezbollah targets across the capital and the Bekaa Valley in 600 seconds. This 10-minute window shows a shift in modern geopolitics. Stopping the superpower sponsors no longer stops the local actors. A global peace treaty can be signed in one room, while a proxy state is physically dismantled in another. To understand how the conflict reached this level of violence, we must look at the paperwork supposed to prevent it. In 2006, United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 mandated that the territory south of Lebanon's Litani River remain entirely demilitarized. 15,000 UNIFIL peacekeepers deployed to enforce it. They failed. Over the next 2 decades, Hezbollah's elite Radwan force ignored the mandate, carving a massive, heavily armed subterranean military infrastructure directly beneath international jurisdiction. Following the Hamas attacks of October 7, 2023, the Israeli security establishment concluded that tolerating armed militias on their borders was a fatal error. Containment was discarded. In its place, leadership adopted an obliteration doctrine, physical territorial control through overwhelming force. The managed border that diplomats praised for 20 years was an illusion. It was a staging ground. And by 2024, the only remaining question was exactly how the regional war would ignite. In September 2024, a man walking through a Lebanese grocery store heard his pocket pager emit a sharp beep. A second later, the device detonated. In what became known as Operation Grim Beeper, Israeli intelligence infiltrated global electronic supply chains, planting explosives inside thousands of Hezbollah communication devices. The synchronized detonations maimed thousands and destroyed Hezbollah's internal communication network. Everyday technology had been weaponized. With Hezbollah's internal communications severed, the Israeli Air Force struck the group's central command. The resulting airstrike killed the organization's longtime leader, Hassan Nasrallah. The strikes did not stop in Lebanon. In February 2026, the U.S. and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury directly into Iran, killing Ali Khamenei. Almost overnight, Hezbollah's new Secretary General, Naim Qassem, was left leading a fractured militia, cut off from its primary patron. But eliminating a militia's leadership does not guarantee a surrender. Stripped of high-level command, Hezbollah's surviving, decentralized cells stopped fighting a coordinated war for regional influence and started fighting a blind, unregulated war for survival. To hunt these surviving cells, the IDF deployed artificial intelligence. By integrating systems like Project Maven, Israeli intelligence compressed the targeting kill chain. Instead of human analysts spending days reviewing drone feeds, algorithms synthesized massive datasets to recommend strike coordinates in minutes.
But relying on software to dictate lethal force carries a massive flaw: automation bias. During the US-led strikes in Iran, an AI targeting workflow misidentified a primary school. The resulting Minab school strike killed 175 civilians because the software's recommendation was trusted without sufficient verification. Furthermore, algorithms require visible data to function. Recognizing this, Hezbollah moved into the Qiyam vortex. They utilized the crushed concrete of Israeli airstrikes as geologically hardened camouflage, operating entirely beneath the rebel, invisible to the AI hovering above. Hidden in these ruins, autonomous Hezbollah squads execute pre-planned ambushes. They fire cheap rockets to exhaust the radar on the Merkava tank's trophy defense system. A microsecond later, they fire a lethal, laser-guided Cornet missile through the opening. State militaries can achieve technological supremacy in the sky. They can calculate targets at the speed of light. But physically clearing a decentralized guerrilla network out of a ruined landscape still requires high-casualty infantry warfare on the ground. The cost of this warfare is the complete ruination of the Levant. By April 2026, the campaign inflicted an estimated $14 billion in direct infrastructure damage on Lebanon. Over 1.2 million civilians were displaced,
sleeping in schools and on the streets of a country already crippled by hyperinflation. Caught in the middle is the sovereign state of Lebanon. The national government and the Lebanese armed forces, led by Commander Joseph Aoun, sit paralyzed. They lack the firepower to forcibly disarm Hezbollah and the military capacity to repel the Israeli invasion. The economic devastation arcs across the border. Funding a high-intensity mobilization has pushed Israel's budget deficit to 15%. With the national debt-to-GDP ratio climbing past 85%, economists warn that the cost of the war risks triggering a lost economic decade for Israel. The pursuit of absolute border security is no longer an isolated military objective. It requires absorbing severe domestic financial strain while ensuring the macroeconomic and physical collapse of the neighboring society. Looking forward, the IDF is currently maneuvering to hold a fortified, depopulated buffer zone stretching to the Litani River. UNIFIL recorded over 10,000 border violations after 2024, but peacekeepers ultimately lacked the physical authority to stop them. Today, diplomatic efforts like the US-led Board of Peace attempt to manage reconstruction by bypassing the Security Council entirely, prioritizing military facts over established channels. The 2026 conflict demonstrates that advanced technology cannot solve the problem of entrenched ideology. While the IDF can dismantle a command hierarchy in minutes, Hezbollah remains embedded in the social fabric of the Lebanese South. Ultimately, the 2006 peace framework wasn't replaced by a new agreement. It was replaced by a fortified military occupation.